Hello everyone, and I welcome you all to IIT JEE Rankplus English. In today's session, I'm going to show you the formulas which are very important for your JEE exam. And this formula sheet is so important, and I would be saying that this is the best formula book which you can have for your JEE preparation. Because if you compare this formula book with any handbooks available in the market, be like you can compare this handbook with any edtech, you can compare this with any publisher's book which is available online and offline. Because I have taken all the previous year question into consideration while making this formula sheet, right? And this formula sheet is the ultimate thing which you can have for your quick revision. So earlier I was planning that I will jot down all the important formulas in this session live in front of you. But then I thought of that it will take a lot of time, right? So it's better that I'll take this as a PDF and I'll share this PDF with all of you guys in our Telegram group. So if you haven't subscribed to our Telegram, please subscribe that Telegram. It's totally free, of course. The link is in the description. And if you haven't if you are not following us on this YouTube channel, so please follow us on this also. So shall we start? Hello Hari, hello Fatima. Where are you from, Ashwita? And welcome everyone. And please do let me know that from which part of the country you are joining. So let's start from our first topic, which is kinematics. In kinematics, if you see the previous year question, at least 5 years previous year, you will find that the questions are coming directly from our formula sheet. First of all, we need to find out that what is the distance and displacement in case of a circular motion, right? If one circle is given to you, its radius is given to you, and there are some points like here A, B, C, D. You can start from any point and you can end up at anywhere on the circle. And the question might ask you that what is the distance, what is the displacement in this scenario. Generally they would be asking you that if this A is the starting point, D could be the my ending point, right? So from A to D, if I need to find out the distance, then distance will be a multiple of your circumference, right? So from A to D, if I am moving in a circular path, how much circle I am covering? So I am covering 3/4 of the part. So you can keep this thing as 3/4 into 2 pi r, because 2 pi r is basically the distance of the complete circle, which is the circumference, right? So in these types of scenario, basically what I keep is I say to my student that remember that one thing, that distance is equals to n times of the circumference, n times of the circumference. Okay, and this n basically signifies that how much part of the circle you are covering. So from A to D, if I am moving, I am covering the 3/4 part. For the displacement, I know that I have to close my eyes and I do not need to bother about that which path my object is following. I just need to think of that from where it is starting and from like at what point it is ending. So from here to here, I need to draw a straight line. So this is R, this is R. It is going to be root 2r. So this is my first concept which you need to know. And it might also be possible that you will be getting these types of question in terms of vector. So if this question comes in vector form, then you have to find out the r1 vector, the r2 vector, and you know that if you need to find out the displacement vector, we generally consider that if this is P and Q, this is the initial point, which we are having, and this is the final point. So we generally keep this final minus initial point, right? So here you are seeing that Q is the final point. So the coordinate of x-axis here is x2. So x2 minus x1 and like x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square plus z2 minus z1 square. So this is how you will find the displacement in terms of vector quantity. Is it clear? You are from Kerala, Tamil Nadu? Okay. So now let's move. I'll be little fast. Okay, I'll be little fast for this. Now, This is very, very important because, like I told you, that I have taken all the important formulas from the previous year questions, right? As you know that we are running a series here, PYQ booster series, in which series, PYQ marathon series, in which we are taking 100 top 100 questions from previous year questions, right? So I have analyzed all 5 years questions, and based on that I have created this PDF for you to revise the important formulas. And if you see the JEE 2023 2024, the last 2 year papers only, you will find that all the questions are coming from this PDF directly. So now this speed formula is very, very important. So for getting the average speed, you have to do total distance divided by total time. And for getting the instantaneous speed, you need to differentiate. To get the average velocity, total displacement by total velocity, and for the instantaneous velocity, we need to differentiate. Okay, now what is it? Okay, now let's move. So these are some important patterns on which you will find some questions. We can have, like, we have to travel from A point to B point, and in the between we can divide those parts. Like if we divide our distance in n equal parts, and we are traveling with different speeds, like here from A to C, I have divided this into two parts, x and x. The distance will remain same. Velocities are different. To get the average velocity, I need to do 2 v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. If there are three separations, the formula will become 3 v1 v2 v3, v1 v2 v2 v3, and v3 v1. And you know that this question is from JEE PYQ. They are asking you direct formula. Direct formula they are asking you. If this happens for n times, if the same pattern happens for the n times, then the formula becomes n divided by 1 upon v1, 1 upon v2, 1 upon v3, plus so on, 1 upon vn. Okay, remember this formula. You will get this PDF in the Telegram group, but this is very, very important. Is it clear? Fatima, Ashwita, Hari, do you want me to jot down this thing, or do you want I will take this session like this only? Like I'll show you the PDF and explain you that this formula is important, this formula is important. Tell me which way you want me to take. Now, next formula is equal interval of time with unequal speeds. That means the duration is fixed, but in that duration you have unequal speeds. For t by n times, t by n time, t by n times, you have velocity v1, v2, v3. For this, if you have to find out v average is simply the normal average v1, v2, v3. You just add up all the velocities and divide it by n, you will get the answer, right? Then we have a relationship between the distance, velocity, displacement, velocity, and acceleration. These relationships are very, very important, and you must know that when you have to differentiate and when you have to integrate. Like if I'm having a displacement equation with me and I need to get the velocity equation, I have to differentiate it. To get the acceleration, I have to again differentiate the function of velocity, or I have to double differentiate the function of displacement, right? This is when I am moving from displacement to velocity and velocity to acceleration. But what if I have to move from acceleration to velocity and velocity to displacement? I need to do the integration. And integration also means that I am finding the area under curve. That means to get the velocity, you can get it by getting the area under curve of acceleration and time. And to get the displacement, you have to take the area under VT graph. So these are very, very important. And after that, we have equations of motion. In equations of motion, we know that there are 5 variables. In equations of motion, there are 5 variables. The 5 variables are UV set: initial velocity, final velocity, displacement, acceleration, and time. Okay, this is UV set. So there are 5 variables, and if you see any equation of motion, you will find that there are 4 variables. See, VUAT, 4 variables, SUTA, 4 variables, VUAS, 4 variables, right? So if you see any equation of motion, you will find 4 variables. So to solve numericals using the equation of motion, at least 3 variables must be given to you. And there is also a condition that the acceleration must be constant. So when the acceleration is constant and 3 variable is given to you, you can use the equations of motion. And also, if you see the previous year questions of JEE 2023 and 2024, you will get to know that direct question are coming from this SNth. SNth means the displacement in the nth second is equals to u plus a by 2 2n minus 1. This formula is very, very important. And I'm seeing that JEE is giving questions based on this formula again and again, and the questions are very simple and doable. Just you need to use this formula directly. Right now, there are some cases which is very, very popular, and you will find the similar type of cases in your exams as well. When we are dropping something, like when I am dropping CT intimation, as per my expectation, it will come around 12 or 13. Okay. So, see, I'm having one ball with me, and if I'm dropping this ball, how much time it will take to reach the lowest point? The time interval is under root 2s by g. This formula is very, very important because similar type of formula you will get in your fluid mechanics. To get the velocity that what is the velocity with which this ball is striking when it hits the ground is under root 2gh, and this formula was asked in JEE 2024. Directly they are asking this formula. See how easy questions are coming. It particularly depends upon your shift, that which shift you got. Right, similarly, if I'm throwing some ball, if I'm throwing this ball vertically, right, so I have to calculate two things: the height, and the height formula is u square by 2g, and the another thing is the time. Why I am going to calculate this thing? Because I told you that in equations of motion we have 5 variables, right? In equations of motion we have 5 variables, and in these 5 variables you can write this as uv set. If I am throwing, if I am dropping one object, that means initial velocity is 0, acceleration is g, and height will be provided to me. That means this u is there, s is there, acceleration is there. I need to find out velocity and time. This is what I am doing here, right? Similarly, I'll erase this. Similarly, when I'm throwing one ball, right? When I'm vertically throwing one ball, I have to provide the velocity, because if I do not provide the velocity, it will not move upward, because according to the nature, everything falls on the earth, right? So if I have to do something different, I have to apply some force. It's a nature's law. If you want to grow, then you have to keep your focus in for study. So here h is equals to u square by 2g, time is equals to time to get up is u by g, time to get down is u by g, if I'm not considering the air friction. So total time is 2u by g. Right, shall we move? Now let's move. This is vectors basic which you must know. First of all, I would tell you that how to resolve the vector. So if there is a f vector here, the angle is theta. You can resolve it in two forms, f cos theta and f sin theta. And I generally say that there is an approach. There is an approach of solving numericals in physics. Because in physics, you will find that there are multiple concepts. There are multiple concepts that might confuse you, right? But there are very few approaches in physics that you can use in any number of questions. And I'll teach you in that way. So the approach is, whenever you are seeing any picture, you do not have to see the picture, you have to see the pixel. See the pixel. And remember one thing, that I'll share this PDF with the one who is attending this live. I'll remember your name, Fatima Aditya SK. Okay, so please give me your real name and join us on the Telegram as well, because I'm not going to share it in a public domain. I'm going to share this only for the student who is attending this live, and who will do the comment, because there are some students who will attend this lecture later on, right? So they have to. So where we can get this PDF? Yes, Anushri, you can get this PDF from the Telegram, right? For that, you have to join the Telegram group and be there in the class. Next thing. So we do not see the picture, we see the pixel. What does pixel means? Pixel means that you have to divide very difficult question into a smaller part, and ultimately you can able to solve that smaller part. That is the real way to solve any physics numericals, right? Now, so I hope that this, you know, that if this is force F cos theta, F sin theta, and if there is force F1 here, F2 here, we need to find out there is an angle between theta here. And if I need to find out the net force, it will be in terms of this F1 square F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta. And remember one thing, that when we have a vector quantity, we have to do the vector sum. If we are having the scalar quantity, we can simply add or subtract, right? Now there is an angle, like if you want to find out the alpha here, so tan alpha is equals to f2 sin theta divided by f1 plus f2 cos theta. Magnitude of vector, if you need to find out, it's very simple. If I'm having a vector as x I cap, y j cap plus z k cap, I can get the magnitude as under root x square plus y square plus z square. Okay. Now, as you all know, that the real X factor of Manoj Sir is to concise any difficult topic into a very simpler, doable manner. So many students ask me that, sir, we find that projectile motion is very huge topic. And I told them that projectile motion is nothing. In projectile motion, you have to do only three things. You have to remember the formula for the height, range, time, plus you must know that what is the equation of trajectory, and some basic concept of kinematics. You can solve any type of question, uh, be it from JEE Advanced or JEE Main. And if you want to do the practice for these projectile motion questions, I would say that go and open your HC Verma book. From question number 33 to 45, the questions are from projectile motion. So in a projectile motion, in case of ground to ground, I'm considering that in case of ground to ground, if there is u velocity, so in that case, this is the range, this is the height, and it's theta. This is height. Okay. So you have to remember HRT plus equation, height, range, time, and equation. And this is very simple. Why simple? Because I already told you the two cases, when we are dropping the object and when we are throwing the object. So I can resolve this into two components, u sin theta and u cos theta, right? So the formula for height is u square sin square theta divided by 2g, and for time is 2u sin theta by g. It's similar to the formula when I am throwing the object vertically upward. See, see the pattern. See the pattern of the formula for the height and time. Here we are considering uy. If you consider uy, you will get the same formula. For range, we have 2u square sine theta cos theta divided by g. Here you must remember that for complementary angles, range are same. For complementary angles, range are same. An equation of trajectory is y is equals to x tan theta 1 minus x by r. There are important relationship. It's been asked multiple times in your JEE exam. You must remember that h is equals to gt square divided by 8, and h is equals to r by 4 tan theta. If tan is 45 degree for getting the maximum range, your height will be equals to h by r. This formula is very, very important. You will find if you are solving the archives of the previous year question, you will get to know that these formulas are very, very important. In case of horizontal projection, the time it the time projectile takes to reach the ground is under root 2h by g. It is basically similar to the one when we are dropping the object. Sona Gupta, what happened? 97, 98. To get 99 percentile, I have shared one YouTube short on this YouTube channel. Like, I was getting so many doubts regarding, sir, how much marks we need to score to get 99 percentile. Wait a minute. Right, I was getting so many. Is it okay? Yes, my voice is clear. I was getting so many doubts that, sir, how much marks we need to get 99 percentile in JEE Main. So I told them that it basically depends upon multiple factors, that how many students are going to give the exam and what is the level of the exam, right? You cannot predict easily, but still, if you see the data in 2022, if you had given your exam, you have to score around 185 to 190 marks to get 99 percentile. In 2023, is it's rose up to 200 marks. In 2024, it was around 210. In 2020, if the paper level was similar to the 2023 or 2024, at least you require 220 plus marks to get 99 percentile. 220 plus is a very good score. And it might also happen that if you got a very easy shift, the shift in which most of the students are scoring more than 220 marks, so it could happen that even at 220 you might not get 99 percentile. So it perfectly and purely depends upon that at which level the students are, and this formula sheet will again raise the bar, because directly you will find the questions are coming from these formula sheet. You can compare this formula sheet with any formula sheets available in the market from any edtech player. You can name it and you can match it, right? And also from the publishers, and also from the big coaching institutes, what they are having. I have referred every book and I'm telling you that they are not covering each and everything. This PDF I have designed specially based on previous year question. So next move, there are like, once the horizontal projection is done, there is a river swimmer problem. You have to get the shortest path. Right? To get the shortest path, we must know that the horizontal velocity and the horizontal velocity must be same. If the swimmer is going in this direction, if the swimmer is going in this direction with velocity v, I can resolve this velocity in two parts, v cos theta and v sin theta. This v sin theta must be equals to the velocity of the river. So vr must be v sin theta. This is very, very important relationship. And to get the time, as we know that to cover the distance between the two banks, I need to travel this distance. Formula for getting the time is very, very simple. It simply says that you have to keep the distance divided by the velocity, and velocity which helps us to cross the river is v cos theta. So t is equals to d by v cos theta. And to get the minimum time, this theta must be 0. So if theta is 0, you can get t is equals to d by v. But if this person is moving in this direction, there will be a drift. Drift means this there is a velocity of river, right? And the velocity of men. So ultimately, the men will reach somewhere around this C point, and you can find out the drift using a very simple formula, which is distance, speed into time. Multiply this vr with the time you are getting here, right? Now let's comes to the Newton's laws of motion. This chapter is very close to my heart, because if you know some pattern, if you know some rules, if you are a very good observer, you feel that this chapter is very, very easy and very, very scoring. Within few seconds, you will be able to solve any type of question. If you open the archives of JEE previous year questions, you will find that even in advance, if you know these patterns, these will going to help you a lot, right? So, first pattern which I want to tell you, I'm not discussing the laws. I'm not discussing the what is first law, what is second law, what is third law. I know that laws you know, right? But the problem is that how you are going to apply those laws in the real numericals. So here I'm saying that if the person is at rest, the weight of the person is mg. If the person is going upward, the weight is mg plus a. Its weight is increased. Remember, in life, if you want to go up, in life, if you want to go up as per your current situation, you have to take tension. You have to increase the tension. Why you are here? Why you are attending this lecture? Why till now you are here? Because you want to raise the standard of your living, right? So that's why tension is very, very important in your life. And when you are going upward, you have to increase the tension. When you are going down, you are decreasing the tension. So weight is mg minus a. And if there is a free fall, you can say that acceleration will be equal to g and weight will be equal to 0. So in case of a free fall, the weight is 0. Similar things happen. Similar things happen that if you are holding a rope, if you are holding a rope, then the tension in the rope is mg. If you are at rest, if you are going upward, the tension is mg plus a. If you are going downward, the tension is mg minus a, right? I hope that this pattern you will remember, right? What are you saying? Very good evening, Ajay. Will you really send the top 100 questions PDF which asked? Yes, Pogam. Fatima, is it clear? I hope that. Hmm. Guys, please share this session with your friends. And next, let's move to the numerical related to the pulley. Related to the pulley, the first type of numerical you will get in which there will be only one pulley, and you will have two weights joining there, m1 and m2. In that case, one weight will be more as compared to the other side. And to get the acceleration, you just need to get that what is the unbalanced load divided by total mass. Unbalanced load divided by total mass, this is a perfect shortcut trick to get the acceleration. In this scenario, if I'm considering that m2 is greater than m1, so acceleration is m2 minus m1 multiplied by g. Why I'm multiplying this by g? Because I have to get the load, and load is what? It's a kind of a weight. So m2 minus m1 g divided by m1 plus m2, right? To get the tension, see, to get the tension, if something is going upward, some will be going downward, right? If something is going upward, some will going downward. So the object which is going upward will have the tension as mg1 plus a, because when you are moving upward, your tension will increase, and when if you are going downward, your tension will decrease, right? When you are moving upward, your tension will increase. When you are going downward, your tension will decrease. So that's why here m2g minus a, consider that we are only considering the mass of the object. This is how we frame the equation. And if you solve these things, you will get the tension as 2 m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2g, right? There is another question, pattern 2. In pattern 2, you will get, there is a particular table out there. In that table, this m1 is rested upon horizontally, m2 is there, right? M, sir, moving charges, fecum. Actually, that PDF got lost, right? I do not remember that where I have saved that. So I'll share the handwritten notes with you, similar to that kind. Okay. Pocum Studios. What is your real name? I'll share this handwritten PDF for those chapters. Shall we move? Now, so in case of without friction, you have to consider only the unbalanced load, right? So this is unbalanced. So you can say that will be equals to m2 divided by, for total mass, you have to take the both the masses m1 plus m2, multiply it by g. To get the tension, tension is m1a, tension is m1a is equals to m2 g minus a, because the x, if I need to get the acceleration using this is going downward, the acceleration tension will be equals to m2 g minus a, because it's going downward and it's moving in the forward direction. If this object is moving in the forward direction, the tension will becomes m1a. In case of with friction, I have to consider the friction as well, right? So if this object is moving in the forward direction, the friction will act in the backward direction. If this object is moving in the forward direction, the friction will act in the backward direction. So in that scenario, I can put m2 minus mu m1, multiply it by g, divide by m1 plus m2. So remember these formulas. These formulas are very, very important. And if you see the, even if you see the JEE 2024 previous year questions, you will get that these types of questions are only coming, right? Similarly here, tension is equals to m2g minus a here. Now let's move to the pattern 3. In pattern 3, you will find that there will be a wedge like structure, inclined plane mainly. So if there is an inclination of alpha here, beta here, if I'll make the free body diagram, so there I'll get m1 g sine theta, sine alpha, and here you will get m2g sine beta. To get the acceleration, I'm considering that this object is moving in this direction, this is moving upward. To get the acceleration, you need to do m1 sine alpha, right? Remember, here what you need to do is m1 sine alpha minus m2 sine beta, multiply it by g, divided by m1 plus m2. See the difference between, not going, see the difference between this and this. See here, if I need to find out the acceleration, it can easily be find out using m2 minus m1 g divided by m1 plus m2. See what is the difference between that and that. Here basically when the object is inclined, we are taking the inclined direction. So m1 sine alpha minus m2 sine beta, multiply it by g divided by m1 plus m2. For tension, you have to form the equation. I'm telling you that I can write the tension formula also right here. But I know that to remember that tension formula will give you an extra tension. I do not want to add extra tension in your life, right? So it's basically you just need to remember the acceleration formula, and for the tension you can frame the equation. Pattern 4, for a moving block, like if I'm having a block of mass m, it's going downward, there is a frictionless surface also there. Here also on the floor we have a frictionless surface. So when this object moves downward, this block will move in the backward direction, and you have to find out that what is the acceleration of this block. This was asked in JEE 2023, right? This question was asked in JEE 2023, and this question is directly from your HC Verma book, solved example of laws of motion. So the formula for this is A is equals to m plus m g sine theta divided by m1 m plus m sine square theta. And one important factor, that if you remember this formula, I have seen that in JEE PYQs, one question was there in which theta was not given to us, even m and m was not given to us. It was basically based on the variables. But in another set of question, the values of m and m were given there. So you need to put those values in that. Next, the next pattern is the banking of road. In banking of road also, we have three different scenarios. First scenario is when we are just taking the turn. When we are just taking the turn, basically we depends upon the frictional force, that is static friction, and the maximum velocity what we can have while turning is under root rg mu. In case of banking, we do not even like in case of banking we do not require the friction, so rg tan theta. But in real life, we have banking plus friction. In those scenarios, you have two formulas, first for the maximum velocity and second for the minimum velocity. For maximum velocity, you have to remember Rg tan theta plus mu divided by 1 minus mu tan theta. For getting the minimum velocity, it's Rg tan theta minus mu 1 plus mu tan theta. These formulas are very, very important. And other than this, you have to frame the equations, right? Jason Cyrus. Okay, for Com Studios. And remember one thing, that I'm not going to share this PDF with everyone. I'll only share this PDF with the one who will stay there in this class, right? Shall we move now? Please mark your attendance. I'm a kind of a teacher who wants to know that who is studying from me. Now, let's move. Okay. Now, for work for circular motion, you must know that here we have angular displacement. For circular motion, we have angular displacement, and that angular displacement theta is equals to L by R. And if you need to relate this, this is the normal distance. Multiply, like if you multiply this R with the angular displacement, you will get the linear displacement. To get the angular velocity, omega, you have to differentiate the angular displacement. It is similar to the kinematics which we have already studied. And V is equals to R omega. For angular acceleration, alpha, you have to differentiate this d square t dt square, or you can differentiate omega, and A is equals to R alpha. Remember one thing, whenever you see that the object is moving in a circular way, be it in a horizontal circular motion or in a vertical circular motion, close your eyes and apply the centripetal force. So acceleration for centripetal is V square by R. This is very, very important. And as we know that V is equals to R omega, if you replace this, you will get R omega square, right? You will get R omega square. So this formula is also very, very important for the centripetal acceleration, right? And once this is over, we can go for work, energy, and power. So for work, energy, and power, To get the work, there are three patterns. For the calculation of work, there are three patterns. The first one, when we have a fixed force, in case of vector form, you can do one thing, that work is equals to force dot s, right? Work is equals to force dot s. You have to do the dot product. In case of scalar form, work is equals to F cos theta. In case of variable force, so work is equals to F dot ds. Right? You can put the initial limits as S1 and S2. Also, S, you will have force and displacement. So you have to find out area under curve of force and displacement. Area under curve of force displacement graph will give you the work, right? Another thing is this graph. The pattern is graph. So these are three patterns which you must know. For energy, we have kinetic energy. It's the kinetic energy is my favorite, one of my favorite energy, because its formula remains same irrespective whether I am solving the question of mechanics, modern physics. It remains same. The formula is half mv square. Also, you can relate this formula with the momentum. And if you see the previous year question from this chapter, work, energy and power, I have taken a separate session for that previous year question, and I have shown you that the questions are basically coming from this formula. They are relating that if momentum is equal, find out the ratio of the kinetic energy. If if their masses are same, then what is the ratio of kinetic energy and momentum? So you have to remember this formula. And for potential energy, see, potential energy is a very, I would say, a special type of energy, because it is only defined for the conservative forces. So in our JEE syllabus, you have three types of conservative forces which you have to study. First one is the gravitational force, second one is the electrostatic force, third one is the magnetic force, and the spring force if you consider that also. So there are four cases. And also in case of atoms, nuclei, there also we have potential energy formula where we have to apply the basic principles of electrostatic force. So in that scenario, the formulas for potential energy gets changed when we change our chapter, right? And the even the approach to solve the questions also gets changed. But we know that the potential energy formula, especially if the height is not that much, I'll be considering that the formula for gravitational potential energy is mgh. That is what we considered in this work, energy and power. Next thing is power. If you considered power is equals to work done by time, energy by time, and a very important formula, force into velocity. This force into velocity is used by JEE examiner multiple times. You will find that JEE examiner is asking question based on power is equals to force into velocity multiple times. I'm seeing the separate romantic affair is going between this formula and the JEE examiner. They're asking again and again question based on this formula. And sometimes it is also possible that you have not been provided the direct value of the velocity. You have been provided the value of force, and you know that how we are going to get the velocity from force. See, if force vector is given to me, xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap, Then to get the acceleration, I need to divide it by mass. So you can do one thing, x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap divided by mass will give you acceleration. And to get the velocity, you need to integrate this function, right? To get the velocity, you have to integrate the above function and you will get the velocity. And once you get the velocity, you have to just multiply this thing. I hope that this thing is clear. Similarly, we have the rotational motion. In rotational motion, I would be considering that you must know what are the basic formulas for the torque, angular momentum. Other than that, you have to remember the moment of inertia. And remember that after seeing all the previous year question, I can concise that only these shapes, moment of inertia, are important for you in case of JEE Main, right? I have gone through all the previous year question of 43 years of JEE Main, and I'm telling you that these many forces are only required. But if you see the handbook of various coaching institutes, they will be providing you the moment of inertia of like means any other object. Why you have to remember those things? If you have a very good memory, you can go for that. But if you have a limited time and if you face any difficulty while remembering the moment of inertia formula, go for this PDF. This PDF is very very important because I have designed this PDF based on the previous year question of JEE Main. So see here, if I'm having a ring, so the ring moment of inertia is I is equals to mr square. And this is the favorite topic of JEE examiner, moment of inertia, radius of gyration. Moment of inertia, radius of gyration is one of the favorite topic of the examiner. You will find that at least 3 to 4 questions will be there if you open up the January session or the April session. That means that at least in 3 or 4 sessions, you'll out of 10 session, in 3 or 4 sessions, you will be getting a question based on moment of inertia. See how much probability is there to get a question directly from the moment of inertia. So ring moment of inertia is I is equals to mr square. The moment of inertia for this object, the ring, when we are displacing the axis from the center to the corner, is ICUM plus mr square, right? There is a theorem. What is the theorem name? Parallel axis theorem. So basically here we are using the parallel axis theorem. Similarly, if you change the axis from here to here, what does it mean? It means I'm having, see, okay, I'm having a ring here. First, the rotational axis is this. So the moment of inertia is mr square. Even you will, some of you might say, sir, this is not a ring, but this is a cylinder because there is a height, right? But the formula for ring and cylinder will remain same. It's mr square. So in the first case, in the first case, right? In the first case, the moment of inertia is mr square. In second case, I am keeping my axis here. So in that scenario, I'm having the moment of inertia as 2 mr square. And in this case, basically, I'm doing this thing. I'm having the moment of inertia as mr square by 2, right? See, this is Rocky Bhai gun. This is Rocky Bhai gun. And in case you are taking this, you are taking this, right? So in this case, I'm having 3 by 2 mr square. So these formulas are very, very important. In case of a circular disk, in case of a circular disk, don't say too much. They will change the paper. No, they won't be changing the paper. See, there is a another kind of romanticism is going between the favorite topic of the examiner. See, if you see that there is partiality in every field of your life, some some favor something, some other person favors some other things, right? So the more educated person basically wanted to check the new engineers in such a manner that they can identify that whether this person is intelligent or not. So these are some topics where you can ec- check the person's intelligence. But if you repeatedly solving similar type of questions, you will not face any difficulty, right? Now let's see this thing. In a circular disc we have mr square by 2, and similarly you can expect that if you apply the parallel access theorem. And the other one for the annular disk, we got this one. For the solid sphere, it's very important. For the solid sphere we have 2 by 5 mr square, and for the hollow sphere it's 2 by 3 mr square. For a rod, if we are keeping the axis in the middle, it's passing through the center of mass, the moment of inertia is ml square by 12. If I am taking the axis at the corner, the moment of inertia is ml square by 3. In case of a rectangular plate, the moment of inertia is m by 12 a square plus b square. In case of this scenario, it's m by 12 a square. It is similar to the rod, right? It is similar to the rod. This one and this one. See, the length is a here. I'm not considering this breadth. If I'm taking this as my axis, the moment of inertia is m by 12 a square. Width I'm not taking. Similarly, if I'm considering my axis as this, the moment of inertia is m by 12 b square. It's similar to the rod. I hope that you are understanding this. Similarly, for the hollow cylinder, we have mr square by 2 plus ml square by 12 if this is passing through this axis. And if this passes through this axis, the moment of inertia becomes ml square by 2 ml square by 3. And this formula was asked in JEE 2024. If you open up the archives of JEE 2024, you will find that there was a question on solid cylinder. There was a question on hollow cylinder and the sphere. They are comparing the moment of inertia. They are basically the question was based on that you have to find out the radius of gyrations ratio between the solid cylinder and the uh, hollow spheres. So in this solid cylinder, you can consider mr square by 4, ml square by 12, mr square by 4, ml square by 3, right? And before we move to the gravitational part, I want you to revise the formula for electric charges and field and electrostatic potential and capacitance. Because once you see the formulas for gravitation chapter, you will find that these formulas are similar to the chapters which you have studied in class 12. And remember one thing, if you got any chance to give one suggestion to your juniors, if they ask you that please tell me that what are the chapters in class 11th which I have to study so that I would not face any difficulty in physics for class 12th, then can you tell me? So first I will ask you one question. If any junior asks you that please tell me some chapters which in class 11th I have to take very seriously so that I would not face any difficulty in class 12th. So which chapter will you tell? Because ultimately you have to give the interviews as well, right? Imagine that you are giving the interviews and interviewer is asking you that please tell me your strategy, what you have used. So tell me, what are the chapters which you would guide? Tell me everyone. Jason, Fatima, Anushri, Karthikeyan. Do you want this? Do you want this formula sheet? Do you want this formula sheet? How many of you want this formula sheet? So Fatima is saying kinematics, work, energy, and power. Kinematics is the very basic chapter which I think that everyone knows. If you have passed your class 11th, I think that you must know that what is kinematics and how to handle the kinematics equations. According to me, if I have to suggest my class 11th student that they have to take few few chapters, that they have to study few chapters from class 11th, I would be choosing the gravitation chapter, simple harmonic motion, the oscillation chapter, the waves chapter, right? So these are the three chapters which I would be telling them that they have to study these three chapters. And if their target is to get in JEE, I would be adding one more chapter, that is the rotational motion and work energy power, because these are the essence of all chapters of your class 11th. So I hope that this is completed. Now let's wait. It got hanged. So now, no. Let's. Uh, huh, 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 huh. It got hanged. Wait. Because the file is very bulky, so it's taking time to process. We have done. Moment of inertia we have done. Now, now let's come to the electric charges and field, because this chapter is very, very important. Sir, I'll tell class 10 student to skip all subject except math and focus on JEE syllabus. Very good. Sir, is vertical motion not important? Vertical motion is very, very important. If you see, if you see the previous year question of work energy and power, you will find that at least 3 to 4 questions are from the vertical circular motion. In vertical circular motion, you have to remember that what is the minimum speed you require at the lowest point, at the highest point, and at the horizontal line, right? And also you must know that how to get the tension value at any of the point. So vertical circular motion is very, very important. Now let's revise the formula for electric charges and field. The first concept comes to be the quantization of charge. As we know that all the charges in nature is due to the imbalance of electrons, right? All the charges develops due to the imbalance between the electrons and protons. So I can say that Q is equals to Ne, and that N must be the integer. It basically works only in microscopic level. At macroscopic level, we have to ignore this thing. Then comes the Coulomb's law. In Coulomb's law, there is formula F is equals to K Q1 Q2 divided by R square. And if you see recent JEE previous year question, they have asked the questions based on Coulomb's law. They usually say that if you are keeping one object, like if you are keeping two charges in one medium and then you are taking these charges to another medium, then what happens? So basically, in another medium, our force basically becomes F air divided by K times. So K is here the dielectric medium, the dielectric constant. In a vector form, it's now for a superposition. As I told you that in superposition, there are multiple concepts in physics which you have to study. There are multiple concepts in physics which you have to study, but there are very few limited approach which you must know. And what is those approaches? Approach is very, very simple, that you do not have to see the picture given by the question. You have to see the pixels. You have to divide the questions into multiple parts so that you can able to solve the smaller chunk of the question. So here what I am telling you, that in superposition principle, you have to apply one logical thing, that is RIN. If you have attended my lecture, you must know that what is this RIN. If you haven't attended that lecture, that do not bother about that thing. I'm telling you that uh, what type of questions you might get. In this, you will be getting the charges are lined up in a single line. For getting, you have to calculate a value of force at any of the point. You might get charges in a plane, like in a shape like triangle, square, hexagon. Hexagon is the last shape which I have seen. Circle is also there, but hexagon, generally hexagon is the last shape in a polygon which you can get, right? So in these scenarios, you might you have to calculate the values at the vertices, or it might also be possible that you have to calculate the force at the centers. There are questions in which they are asking you to find the values of the force on the edges, also on the what does it that point says, circumcenter or centroid, right? Those points might also come. This this trick is very very important to find the null point. To get the null point, if there are two charges, you can get the null point just by taking the root of the ratios of the charges q1 by q2 is equals to r1 by r2. This formula is very very important. Many a time you have to find out that what must be the value of the charge, or by how much distance you have to put a spatial charge so that the net force is zero. And also there are questions in which you have to consider that the whole system must be zero or must be at the equilibrium. In that case, this is the first step which you have to do. So in case of force and electric field due to system of equal charges in rectangular polygon at center is zero. This is very very important point. If same, if some charges are missing, then you have to redraw, like then you have to redraw and then solve, right? Like I you can put these values, redraw this thing, and put the missing charges as minus q. It's not showing the, why it's not showing? It's again hanged. Is this this page is not coming. This page is not visible. So let's revise the second chapter. In second chapter, basically we have different terms: the electric potential energy, electric potential. So in case of electric potential energy, in case of electric potential energy, there is a formula minus k q1 q2 divided by r. In case of like there are multiple scenarios. If I'm having a single charge, work done is 0. If I am having two charges, the work done is k q1 q2 divided by r12. If there are three charges, the work done will become q1 q2 divided by the distance between q1 and q2, q2 q3, the divide by distance between 2 and 3, q3 q1 divided by the distance between 1 and 3. If there are four charges, you have like a square or a rectangle will be there. Four charges, that means q1 q2 q3 q4. q1 multiplied by q2 q2 q3 q4, q1 q2 q2 q3 q3 q4 q4 q1, and the diagonal 1 multiplied by 3, 2 multiplied by 4, and in denominator you are having the distances between these charges, like 1 and 2, distance between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, distance between 2 and 3. So these formulas are very very important, because if you see the JEE solved, like if you see the previous year question, you will find that the questions are coming directly based on these formulas. Are there any student who scored less in JEE Main but aced in JEE Advanced with good rank? Yes, there are so many students. I would say that it is better that if you reframed your question and asked me that, sir, is there any student out there who scored pretty good marks in JEE Main but failed in JEE Advanced? Yes, there are so many students who scored pretty good in JEE Main, but they failed to get the selection in JEE Advanced. Why? And even there are few top rankers, like the students who scored less than 100 rank in JEE Main, but they were not able to get the selection in JEE Advance because they kept their level of questions till JEE Main level. You will find that very few student I have seen those who have topped JEE Main plus JEE Advance. You tell me if you remember any student's name who got first rank in JEE Main plus in JEE Advance. Tell me. Last year there was one of my student Mayank who got 100 percentile. He was from Dwarka, but Mridul Agarwal is very old. Next, there are exceptions. Yeah, still in process. So electric potential energy in external field. If I want to say, then for the external field, because if I'm taking one charge at a particular area and there is another charge out there, but it is external to that area, then due to this external field, I will be having the potential at this point, right? So if I'm having the potential at this point, even if the first charge is coming, I have to do some work. But in case of if I do not have any external charge, the work done to bring the single charge is zero. But in this scenario, I have to do the work even if I'm bringing the first charge, and the work done is QV. In case of two charges, you have to think in terms of a series, that if the first charge comes, this is the work done Q1 V1. If the second charge comes, the work done due to the potential at this point plus the potential due to this charge, due to the first charge. Then the electrostatic potential is work done divided by charge. It is equals to KQ by R. For finding the null point, you do not have to under root here. Just you can take the ratio of the charges divided by the distance. Now there are scenarios like if I'm having the opposite charges Q1 plus Q1 and minus Q2, the null point of the potential will come in between. But if I am having the unequal charges, but if charge is greater than, then okay. If I'm having opposite charges, in case of potential, there are 2 points. But in case of electric field or the force, I have 1 point. Then in electrostatic potential due to a dipole, this formula is very, very important. I have seen multiple questions are coming directly from this formula. V is equals to Kp cos theta divided by R square minus of A square cos square theta. For equatorial axis, the value is 0. And in assertion and reasoning, you will find if you solve previous year question that they are asking you that tell me what is the potential. See, potential in equatorial line is 0. For the axial, you have Kp by R square minus of A square. If R is greater than A, that means the distance. If I'm considering this as my dipole and I'm going to the my building's topmost floor, then if I'm considering that is the R, I'm considering from the center point of this dipole, then that is the condition that R is very, very greater than the distance between the dipole. So it will become Kp divided by R square. Relationship between electric field and V is very, very important. Just you have to remember with V is equals to Ed. That means potential is equals to E into D. V, you can use this integration as well. Minus E dot dr from R1 to R2, and dV by dr is equals to minus of E. For electrostatic potential energy of electric dipole, it's Pe cos theta 1 minus of cos theta 2. So this formula is also very, very important. And a special case for here is that if the potential energy is 0, the potential energy is 0 at theta 90 degree, initial potential energy they are saying. So potential energy becomes minus of Pe cos theta. For stable potential energy, it's equals to Pe. For unstable potential energy, you have plus Pe. For a capacitor is very, very easy. You have Q is equals to CV. C is equals to epsilon naught A by D. There are three scenarios which you have to remember. First one, that if there is no slab, the formula is epsilon naught A by D. If there is a slab, the formula becomes Kc. If there is a slab of thickness T, the formula becomes C naught divided by 1 minus T by D, 1 minus 1 by K. If there is more slabs, then you can go for epsilon naught A divided by T1 plus T1 divided by K1, T1, T2 divided by K2. This is basically the combination of capacitor. There are three types of load. There are three types of load which you have to. Can this be applied directly to work energy power? Yes. Dear Gautam, do you know that they are crying in the corner? How do you know that? See, first of all, remember one thing, that in your class 12th, you have to study three loads. First one is the R, second one is the L, inductor, third one is the capacitor, R, L, C. These are the three loads. R and L works similar to that. Like if they are connected in series, you can solve them as you have solved resistance numericals. But C is like C works oppositely. Like in series, you have to solve it like a parallel questions in your resistance. So this C1 and C2 are connected in series, but C equivalent will be 1 upon C equivalent is equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. If they are connected in parallel, you have to just add them up. Similarly, if there are dielectrics out there like K1 and K2 separated by a distance D1 and D2, you can divide this diagram into this diagram. This is the picture and pixel concept. And if you divide this diagram, you got to know that basically these are a combination of two capacitors connected in series. Similarly here, if you divide this from the middle part, if you divide this from the middle part, it will behave like a that these capacitors are connected in parallel, right? So you have to apply my concept, picture and pixel concept, which is the ultimate approach which you require to crack the JEE exam. So in that, you can go for this. For this, you can break it into three parts: K1, K2, and K3. K2 and K3 are in series, and when you like calculate the equivalent capacitance of this and this, these are in parallel. Similarly, here, if these are connected in this way, the C equivalent is equal to 3C. For a for a cube like structure, if I'm having a capacitance, I'll have C equivalent is equal to 6C divided by 5. This is very, very important. Why I'm saying that this is very, very important? Because I have seen this in the previous year questions, and if it was asked earlier, it could be asked next time also. So these you have to remember. Then these are some scenarios which I haven't seen in the previous year questions, but you might got these types of questions in your test series, because these types of questions are available in the study materials of various coaching institutes, including our own Rankplus Institute study material. So these types of questions are also very, very important, and I have shown you a very simple steps to solve these types of questions in my detailed lecture. So in these scenarios, I have to first calculate that how many capacitors are there. The first step is that you have to calculate that how many capacitors are there. So here C1 and C2, there are two capacitors. So if there are two capacitors, you have to see that how they are joined. And once you are done with the diagram, you will get to know that these two are connected in parallel. Like here, these are connected in parallel and this is in series. Like if this is something like that, you will get this thing. And if this is like this, you will get this thing. These are very, very important. Sir, in mock test, I get 200. Can I get more in remaining days? So, Gaurav Tiwari, first I need to know that which institute test series you are giving, and how is it online or offline test? This is first thing what I need to know to tell you that 200 marks is a very good marks or not. If you are giving Rankplus test series, then please let me know. Rankplus, if you want to join Rankplus test series for JEE Main, you can join it. The link is in the description. Yes, the link is in the description. All India test series for JEE class 12th, all India test series for JEE 12th pass out. So there are two test series which are there. You can join any one of them according to you. Offline, sir. So offline, which institute test series you are giving? Gaurav Tiwari. JEE1 means Namokol. I have seen last year. I have seen their paper. Like one of my student have shared. So level is good. You can go like if you are getting 200 plus, good good score you are getting. What's the rank you are getting? Are they providing the rank also? Next, next one is the energy stored in the capacitor. It's half q square divided by c, half cv square, half qv. For the energy density, it's half epsilon naught E square. And if you need to find out the force between the parallel plate capacitor, it's basically equals to the Q square divided by 2A epsilon naught. Then if you need to find out the common potential when plates of similar natures are connected together, the potential is C1 C2 C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. If they are in opposite nature, then it's C1 V1 minus of C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. In case of loss of energy in charge sharing, similar nature connections, if we have, then it's half C1 C2 divided by C1 plus C2 V1 minus V2 whole square. In opposite, we have to do this thing. Like, and for the charge distribution, this is the direct formula. And for the current electricity, this is for as per CBSC, because I still have to modify this for the JE, but we can revise this. Like for the average, you have to find out Q net divided by time. For the instantaneous, you have to differentiate it. To get the circular current, you have to take QV divided by 2 pi r, right? And omega is 2 pi by t. For drift velocity, we have formula minus EE by tau by m. And these are some formulas which you remember. This is very, very important. You will see that this type of question was there in your JEE main as well. Similarly, this shortcut trick is very, very important. This is important for any kind of exam in which you have resistance as the syllabus. If we know that resistance is equal to rho L by A, if we are stretching it, right? So resistance becomes new resistance will be proportional to L square. If you have to find out the percentage change, if the percentage change is less than 10, you have to multiply it by 2. If it is more than 10%, you have to square it. And once you square it, you will get the answer within few seconds. This is the shortcut technique in which you can find out the new resistance. And in case of JEE main exam, if you see current electricity numericals, you will find that they are asking very easy question. Even last year, there were around 6 to 7 question in which they are simply asking you to solve series and parallel connection of resistance. Like even a class 10 student can solve that question. So this is the level of question which you are getting from current electricity chapter. So in case of R, it is proportional to 1 upon A square, and R is equals to, this is the area basically we are talking about. Now, so these graphs are very, very important. Metals, alloys, and semiconductors. Okay, you must remember that which graphs represent which one. Then this, I hope that you all remember that what is power. Power is equals to VI V square by R square R. E is equals to PT VI T V square by RT I square RT. Kirchhoff's law, we know that sigma is equals to 0, sigma V is equals to rho. Basically, this law is not important. The important is that how you are going to apply this law. And basically, when I am solving the questions related to the current electricity, I'm an electrical engineer. I have done my engineering from Delhi. So I specially uses the techniques like point potential method. I assume that there is some potential, and using that technique I could able to solve any difficult questions within few seconds. If you give me a scientific calculator like this one, 991 ES, and like the options are given, I can solve any questions related to the circuit within few seconds. Right? I have scored pretty good marks in the gate exam as well. So here I am telling you these two formulas are also important. The voltage divider, if I'm having two resistance connected in series, basically their voltages are divided in the ratio of their resistances. That V1 by V2 is equals to R1 by R2. But in case of like when we are dividing the current, the ratio will be in the opposite direction. See, I1 by I2 is equals to R2 by R1. So it's a reverse order. Then you must remember that what is the resistance of a cube, like diagonal face and along the side. Then this Wheatstone bridge formula is also very, very important. And similar to this, you have to like I would be suggesting you to solve H.C. Verma book for this current electricity chapter. Similar type of questions are coming. Then if I am having the multiple batteries connected together, so my equivalent becomes E1 plus E2 plus E3, so on, so on. My R equivalent will becomes, as they are connected in series, you have to just add them up. To get the current, have to take E equivalent divided by R equivalent plus R, right? For this, there is a special case. Special case is if I am having that the internal resistance is very, very high as compared to the external resistance, then the value of current is E by R. So we generally avoid this scenario, right? Like if I have to connect my batteries in series, I want that my external resistance will be having the higher value as compared to the internal resistance. So in that scenario, I'll be getting I is equals to NE divided by R. In case of the parallel connection, I can use equivalent is equals to E1 by R1, E2 by R2 plus so on, so on, AN by Rn, and R equivalent is equals to the reciprocal formula which you have, and E equivalent divided by R equivalent is this value. Okay, this is very, very important formula. And in case of mixed scenario, you can frame the equation using the same. So this is what we have to do, and this PDF I will share with you later on. I extracted this PDF here also, but it was not working here. So in part 2, I'll take class 11th part 2 plus class 12th topics. Okay, because as you know that in class 12th we have modern physics, and in modern physics, if you see the JEE previous year questions, you will be getting direct formula based questions, right, from modern physics. It's not that you have to think while solving the modern physics questions. Why? Because if the examiner raises up the level of the question, it goes out of the syllabus. So this is the limit which applies in the modern physics questions. So I will take the next part, and I will share, join our Telegram group if you want that PDF which I have just discussed. So join our Telegram group. The link is in the description. I'll share formula PDF with you. I'll share formula PDF with you. This PDF is going to be a gift from my side to you. And I hope that using this PDF, your score will at least increase by 10 to 15 marks, right? So, could you tell the formula for the moment of inertia of point mass? So, point mass rotating at R from a rotating rod of angle omega. What you are saying? Yusuf, I'll give the PDF. Around 70 out of 500. So there are 500, only 500 students are there. 70, like 70 rank is good. Means your score is good, 200. 200 score is very, very good. Jason Cyrus, you have to derive for that. Okay, so I'm winding up this session here only. So do join our Telegram group. The link is in the description. We will meet again in the next class, and in the next class, I'll be sharing for the part 2. Like I'll be discussing class 11th part 2 or class 12th important topics. So till then, bye bye. We will meet again in the next class. And do not forget to share this session with your friends. I'll be sharing this PDF with the one who attend my lecture live. And please, do you want this PDF? If you want this PDF, please do let me know in the comment section. You will get. Okay, if you want this PDF, please do let me know in the comment section.